So let's do some Christmas background overlays in Evoto AI. So I've got several shots of Tatiana. We started out the theme with some headshots. That was the original idea, giant bow on the head. She ended up changing into the white dress from this sort of flannel look there. Just getting some different shots, minimal on the background. I tried to string up some lights. I'm just not a set designer. It's like, oh, I'll just throw up some lights. It'll be great. And it just kind of looks, half-assed. So I think, some are better than others. I mean, it's okay, but it's not great, right? So we got some good shots, though. I mean, she looks great. The lighting looks great. The colors look great. This one's pretty good, but I really want to do like on these over here where she got back into the flannel outfit. I really want to do, it's a little plain in the background. I feel like it needs something, for Christmas, but then I don't really want it to look like, say, a Christmas card either. I don't want it to look cheesy where you just throw a background in the back like everybody's posting on Facebook. I want there to be some sort of professionalism with it. So what you can do, I mean, I tried to go out to like Google and whatever just to download some samples and get some ideas. I really wanted to stay with sort of the original idea, was just to have some hanging lights in the background, right? So I already gave it away. I'm already in the background changer section, and that's in this panel right here, the backdrop panel. And you go to the backdrop changer and it'll come up with recommended, and then you have my backdrops. Well, you can see I have some light backdrops, hanging sort of Christmas light backdrops in the back. And then I have some that I just kind of downloaded. Don't do that. Just go out and buy some. Support photographers, support image makers and things like that. One place you can go to get sort of good images, obviously the old standby is Shutterstock. You can go out there and I just search for like background Christmas lights, red, because I wanted to. It'll be easier to overlay red since we have the red, the deep dark red background it is, right, as it is. So they have lots of good stuff out here. This is real similar. And what you can do is, if you think maybe this one will work, you go into it and you can try it, right? And you can download just a watermarked sample and try the overlay and see if it's going to work before you buy it. It's only like $15 for 2 images. So if you find, a couple good ones, then you're set. What I ended up doing though, where I found some that I liked even better, was on Etsy. Okay. And I found these right here by ashdesign.com. I'll go ahead and give them a plug because I really like them. And what intrigued me about this was, the lights are rather sharp in the background. And in the studio, I was shooting her rather sharp. I was 5.6, so there wasn't a lot of depth of field. So in order to maintain that realism, I wanted sort of the lights to be a little blur is okay, but not total bokeh, right? They have these overlays. I mean, $9 and you get all these images of overlays, right? So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try that. So how do I bring them in? Well, once you get to the backdrop changer, switch from recommended over to personal, you'll see the plus. It's pretty obvious after that. You go out and you search, and here's some that are free downloads and some are watermarked. You're just not going to get, you're going to get either low res on the free stuff or they're going to have watermarks. Just, you spent thousands of dollars on a camera to make great images. If you're going to use backdrop overlays, pay for high res images, okay? And then the photographers like ourselves can make a little money off of those, or graphic artists, things like that, right? So here's these Ash Design ones. And they're all here. So I've already imported them all, so it's probably going to give me an error, but I'll pick one. You can pick multiple at a time by holding down the shift. And I'm just going to pick one actually, because they've already been in and I think it'll tell me, hey, you've already done this. Yeah. But it will bring them in and put them in here for you. You can see I have a couple of these free ones, and they're just, it's not cool, right? You can throw that on there. It's very Christmas cardy. It's very fake looking. Let's try one of these other overlays though that I just got. So now that's kind of cool. They've got some, they're high res. They're a little bit sharper. It's in the background. We've lost the original sort of red color, but I'll show you sort of a way around that. But go through and try some of these and see, what you like. So let's go back and let me just find one of these shots here. One of these backgrounds to choose from. Now we could do something crazy like this one, right? Don't recommend it. It's all blurry and everything. There's a little bit of stretching going on, but you can set the, there's a stretch fill, center alignment. This is actually a landscape shot, so you probably want to match up, find a background that's vertical if your shot is in portrait mode or landscape mode, respectively. So I probably wouldn't recommend going with that. You could lower the opacity a little bit to bring through some of the reds in the background, right? This is where you get the Christmas cardy sort of Facebook look. I probably would have shot her at, like an f1.4 or something, so that there's some depth of field going back to make her match the background, but it does look very Christmas cardy. I want it to match what, I originally had with some of the lights in the original image, going back to, this is what I was kind of going for. So looking for that type of background, right? So let's go back to this image. I believe it was this one here. I'm going to say no on that one, and let's just pick one of these. So a little busy, and we can hit the more, and I want something, a little less. Go back to what I had right before. I'm liking that. There's some of this bokeh stuff going on there, but I like it. Click on backdrop changer to go back to your settings, right? And bring the opacity down. Opacity, I don't know. Say it how you want to, and we've got kind of we've added a little pizzazz to it. Does it look 100% real? No, but it looks better than the Christmas cardy look, in my opinion. Let me know what you think. You could definitely search for more images and things like that that go better with what you're doing, but I like it. Now, if I wanted more of that red to come through, I could go to the color adjustments, and I could come down here and create a mask. By default, you have full image. I can go to masking, right? And I can mask the entire background. And I want to come down to curves, right? And I'm going to click on the red channel on the curves, right? Just right here. And I'm going to lift the red on the curves there. And just like that, I have more red in the image. Now, you got to make sure, though, you go back to your background, that you do have your opacity lowered just a little bit so that red in the curves comes through on the background mask. Okay, so I'll bring it back up to 100 and see we lost that red. So I'm able to bring back the original sort of color in the background. If I want to, I can bring the opacity up to the desired level, and I kind of have the original color on the background. I have these lights. It looks pretty good. I might want to sort of bring her hair up because we do have those lights in the background. The lights are a little big. Let's do center alignment. That didn't really do anything. We have size, it's at 0. So you want to, sort of scale your background image to match, your foreground portrait person here, but it is what it is. Okay. This is what I have to work with today. So the lights are kind of big, but I like it. It adds some pizzazz, to the image. I would probably do another mask, maybe on the hair, to brighten up the hair a little bit, because we do have lights in the background. On this particular image, I had a hair light. You can see in some of these other images, it's right here. Her hair is illuminated. Here's another one where it's illuminated even better. Of course, on my favorite shot, that backlight didn't fire. It always happens like that, doesn't it? So you might want to bring up the shadows and the highlights with a brush mask on the hair, something like that, just to illuminate her. But just so she'll blend a little bit better with that background. But that looks it looks better. I think it just adds a little something, right? The cool thing is that once I get, one image the way that I want it, I can then either hit a Control-C, which is copy, and I can copy just the background adjustments, right? And save, or I can select one image. You see it down here, hold down Shift and select multiple images and just hit sync, and sync let's do just the background adjustments, right? And I'm going to sync those to the other shots. And if I had 30 shots that I wanted to do this same thing to, I could, and you can see it's doing the same thing. Just like that, I've got this whole thing synced to all the images in my project if I want to. You can't do that in Photoshop. You do these overlays in Photoshop and it's on one image, right? And you got to go through and you got to process every image individually. So this is the power of using a program like Evoto AI. I like this shot, maybe not the leg pose as much. Here's one. I like this one better. Legs are posed a little bit better. It's interesting. She's happy, right? I don't remember which one of these overlays was. You can go to more, and we have a bunch of them. Which one is? Let's try overlay 1. There you go. Let's try overlay. See, this is where I would like maybe a little blur, Gaussian blur or something, but not bad. I don't know. Let's just go with this one. It's a little bit busy. Go back to backdrop changer, and then you get your options. Here's again, I would bring down the opacity maybe to 80, and you can see some of the red poking through again. We'll go back to the background, and there we've added some, pizzazz to the shots again. Even though she's really sharp, I'm shooting her at 5.6. The lights are probably shot at, I don't know, since we're getting starbursts, they're probably shot at f16 or something like that. So it's nice that she's sharp, they're sharp, and so it kind of matches. I would like to be able to just do maybe a tiny bit of Gaussian blur on them, just because they are a little bit behind her, right? But it is what it is. So that's pretty much it, guys. We could come over here and just keep doing this stuff, adding in overlays. Here's a nice headshot. Just pick what you like. Again, go out to Etsy, find some overlays that you do like that might work, and it's really easy to add them into the shot. Doesn't look too cheesy, right? Pick some good ones, and that's all there is to it. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like this, give it a like, give it a subscribe. Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment below if you have any suggestions of ways of improving what I'm doing. I'm not perfect and I don't know everything. So leave a comment anyway. Let me know what you think. Have a good one.